Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Apex Season 4. We just had our first debut game for the season, and Kongdu Panthera were victorious over their sister team, Kongdu Uncia, but now it's the debuts for some new teams. GC Busan are going to be taking on Luxury Watch Red for their debuts here into Season 4, and we'll see exactly what we are going to find out, because there are some exciting things for both of these teams. Of course, first qualification seed for Luxury Watch Red, and our first very large sponsor for GC Busan.
I mean, it's very interesting because Luxury Watch Red feels like they've been around forever, but it's never made it into Apex, right? That was their problem, was they choked at the last time of asking.
Blue kept stealing all their good players as
and
well.
that did happen over time, but I think that happened. That was a response to Luxury Watch Red failing qualification so many times. Nanohana, Pine, their talent couldn't be denied. They moved on up to Luxury Watch Blue, and finally Luxury Watch Red get their spot. But interestingly, this is very much the best of Challenger facing on the first day of Apex Season 4. GC Busan ended the second round group stage 4-1. Their only loss was to Luxury Watch Red that went 5-0, so it's first versus second in terms of challenger teams, but both of them in the same group is fun because they already have that pre-existing rivalry that they showed in the last season of challengers.
Yeah, exactly right, and it was actually the first game in the round robin as well, so GC Busan on a bit of a tear as far as winning streak is concerned, but the caliber of competition will be different moving into Apex, so we'll see whether they're going to be able to continue that form or whether it is going to be on the other side and Luxury Watch Red finally able to prove themselves. So certainly some things to look out for both of these sides.
And Luxury Watch want to really change what people are talking about, because community obviously focused on Luna no longer being on Luxury Watch Blue, from Who no longer being on Luxury Watch Red. Been in the headlines for the wrong reasons recently. Want to make this big debut and actually pick up a match victory on the first day. Change that news cycle, whereas Game Club Busan, you mentioned it, they're actually sponsored by Air Busan, which Busan, to let you guys know, is like the second major city in Korea. Seoul, everyone knows, but Busan is that coastal city with the nice beaches, for example. The thing about GC Busan is they're sponsored by Air Busan, who, just like Jin Air, who sponsored teams in StarCraft and League of Legends, they're the sister airline to Asiana, who is the second big airline in Korea. There's Korean Air and Asiana. So this is actually a really big sponsor for Overwatch, having an airline as your sponsor, and Game Club Busan do come up with some hype here. We don't know how the hype is. X6 Gaming ended up largely living up to the hype, you'd say, in Season 3.
Somewhat, yeah.
Both these teams, we don't really know who the star is going to be. All we have is, like you say, the fact that Luxury Watch Red did take out Busan about 2 months ago.
Yeah, about 2 months ago, but that was on a very different patch as well, ladies and gentlemen, so things have most certainly changed. So we'll see what is going to happen there. The thing that I find exciting is the fact that it's not similar to our last series, which was a whole lot of player switch outs. It was basically different teams. Now we've got one sub for both sides. I mean, there's a Lucio sub coming out on the side of GC Busan, which is arguably a position that can be relatively interchangeable. But we'll see what it is going to mean for identities and what it's going to mean moving into this new patch as well.
Well, the Luxury Watch Red fans, it means a lot for them to finally be in Apex. Nene was actually out before the matches started tonight, handing out freebies and goodies to the fans out here, so already some popularity there. The names don't leap off the page. Roar is the one who's been around the team the longest. And in the end of the day, it's going to be really exciting because there sadly isn't an English cast of Apex Challengers. So you can go and watch the VODs. You know, we did our preparation and watch the VODs, but there isn't necessarily the English zeitgeist around Apex Challengers. So we didn't have Super Week this time, so we didn't get to see a whole lot of GC Busan and Luxury Watch Red over the course of 4 or 5 days like we got to see with X6 Gaming and other teams before Apex Season 3 started. So now we're going to get really on the first day an indication of what these teams are about.
Yeah, and we'll see exactly what is going to happen very, very soon because the team's about to be introduced, and it'll be exciting to see how they approach getting on stage for the first time. So let's do it right now.
Overwatch Apex Season 4, energized by Hot 6, Round Robin. Today's matchup, GC Busan, LW Red.
Luxury Watch Red fans are crazy, Papa Smithy. They're about half the fans in the audience than there were for our previous series, but I feel like the volume has almost doubled.
Yeah, the LW fans, they're probably loyalists. LW Blue may have the stars, but LW Red's ready to make some new stars today. And speaking of new stars, again, Game Club Busan don't have a lot of players that actually have Apex history or any sort of Apex experience. So this is a big step up for both teams, and we really focused our grand final prep around Kongdu Panthera making their debut on a grand stage. For players who play challengers in Korea online, this is a grand stage for them.
Yeah, it is. And you can imagine that the GC Busan fans are fans from home. It's not often that you see outspoken Busan representation here in Korea because so much of it comes out of Seoul. So I'm excited just to see what these beachgoers are able to bring to Apex.
Ready to introduce one of these two challenger teams. Going to start with GC Busan. Talking about their sponsorship. They seem like a solid team. Watching them and their challenger VODs. They're not really a fountain of innovation like some of our other teams, like Kongdu Panthera, for example, but they're very solid in what they do. Their DPS duo is probably the people you have to keep the closest eyes on, Hureg and Prophet. These two guys are very, very good, especially by challenger standards, and they're not going to have to rise to some of our premier Apex DPS duos like Rascal and Birdering today. They're going to go against familiar opposition, so very interesting to see how they assert themselves.
Yeah, not necessarily opting in for too much fire play either out of both of these guys. We know that Hureg loves his hit scan. This guy hops onto Soldier generally, that sort of thing. And you've got Prophet often running around on the Tracer, can get on that Genji as well, but has actually flexed over to things like the Ana with the triple support composition type options. Closer being the newest member here of GC Busan sees himself as a Tracer killer on his Lucio, which is extraordinarily exciting to me. We've heard talk about this, like sometimes you do just send your Lucio off to try and take down the Tracers, and now that he does a bit more damage after that patch a few patches ago, it's exciting.
Ever since you saw those adjustments, Toby's name always is up there in the kill feed whenever Lunatic High plays, and you see the battle Lucios a lot more than before, so I think that's something to aspire to if you can make it happen. So you're right, the only new player is the Lucio player on the side of GC Busan compared to the wholesale changes for Panthera and Uncia. Interesting to see them both in the same group. The group draw show can certainly be cruel. We get both challenger teams and both Kongdu teams in the same group, and ironically both of them playing on the same day, so a lot going on here as we do have the team that finished first in the second round robin of groups on Challengers Season 4. The way it worked was top six teams, 5 of which advanced on to Apex Season 4, and Luxury Watch Red finally topped a list.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they did. So not actually having to play out any sort of quarterfinal or anything like that, and that is how you manage to get a team that comes in second remain undefeated for 4 games in a row. You might be a little bit confused about that, but it's all about seeding because you don't need to play playoffs if everyone's going to be getting in anyway.
And 1J Lee is the new player replacing who was actually the person that did the group draw for Luxury Watch Red, and then in acrimonious circumstances left the team only 24 hours before submission. So he's going to be the newest player here. Don't know how much time he's actually played with the rest of the teams. That late substitution might actually make them underdogs to the more settled roster of GC Busan.
Yeah, GC Busan have certainly been making some waves since their loss against Luxury Watch Red as well. And we are going to have a possibly quicker series here, Papa Smithy, because we're not going to have those long pauses for the substitution over the camp of Luxury Watch Red.
Could still be those tactical pauses though, Atlas.
Hey, that's true. Didn't see them last
Maybe
time.
no ad breaks, but certainly less likely to have the substitutions. Like the only Wu Yao is a substitute on the side of GC Busan. We opened with Nepal when we went to control on our first map. Let's see where we're going this time.
I have an Oasis feeling right now, Papa Smith. That's where my oh no, it's not going to happen. We've got Ilios, and this is going to be exciting. See whether Doomfist is going to be punting anyone down any wells or anything like that, or off the sides of places.
Or if Zarya, with her newly buffed ultimate, ults the middle of that well, and everyone goes right down.
Some exciting propositions here. in Ilios, and always has been a map that's divided the community as far as preference is concerned.
Multiple environmental kills. The triple boops certainly seem to tilt some people, but the Lucio main's out there. That's what they live for, Atlas, so hopefully we're going to see some creativity, and Closer gets a bit of a trial by fire, because Lucio on this map in particular can be a superstar.
Yeah, there are a heck of a lot of options no matter where you go in Ilios. So GC Busan, certainly some options for them. We'll see which compositions are coming out from both of these sides as well, because we've only seen 2 teams from one organization demonstrate what they think this new meta is.
Is it a Doomfist meta, or is that just Rascal's take on the meta?
Yeah.
Series is like this. Every time we can add a series, we'll get more info on that.
Well, let's find out as we head to Ilios for map number 1 between GC Busan and Luxury Watch Red.
Get it.
Both of our teams this time around, not necessarily with the screams of the Kongdu fans, but that was everyone in the room screaming for the same team. And I'm really excited to hear that we do have some GC Busan fans in the audience here today as well. I can see a lone fan with a sign over the other side of the room, Papa Smithy. So fantastic that they've either made the move over from Busan to see their team play. I mean, it's a decent train ride.
I mean, it's about 3 hours by bullet train, so it's right on the coast, where Seoul is far more central. A lot of people, you know, even Busanites will leave home and have to go to the big city for jobs or for university and things like that. So it is a big movement. I'm not actually sure if the team is based out of there and have to take the train every match day or not. We could probably do some investigative work and find out.
Well, speaking of investigative work, Wicked's actually going to start off on the Doomfist and pick up a kill straight away. Prophet taken down. It's Luxury Watch Red doing some work. Off the edge goes Ariel, and that is going to be the first capture from Luxury Watch Red. And we said this is the team that doesn't have the subs. They've had last-minute substitutions, things like this, some problems, but that was a dominating start to get control.
Yeah, you see some of these instant burst combinations that Wicked can put out on the Doomfist without even having to rocket punch someone into a wall. So much burst when you hit all of your abilities. Seeing Wicked push up here as well, but he's taken out by Tracer.
Yeah, slide over extension there as Prophet is certainly punishing. That is going to be a whole bunch of kills as GC Busan are going to silence what I was talking about before, saying that Luxury Watch Red can certainly take a pass and will flip this one over at 30%.
See a lot of flips in this series. We're expecting it to be very, very even. Things started off well for Kongdu Unsia, and then it was clear that Panthera was a tier above their sister team, whereas these two teams have very much been even when battling it out previously.
Yeah, feels like a volatile nature as well in these control maps at the same time, so more of a tendency to be a little bit more even anyway.
And they're poking around on the Tracer, has his ultimate available.
Yeah, not going to actually find the stick on anyone though, as Luxury Watch Red going to invest the Transcendence to try and get themselves another flip back. Decent percentage though, as Prophet's going to find his way back through, but has to recall his way out. As Primal Rage invested, gets rid of the Zenyatta. Gesture doing the same thing though. We're going to see whether GC Busan can actually hold on to this point. Really good ultimate comes down from Wicked to try and keep himself alive and get a lot of damage in.
I mean, you can see why you want to pick Doomfist on this map, because you can just Meteor Strike into the house, which is always going to be contested. The fight's still raging on, and all this time, Busan got a lot of percentage. They're up to 56 already.
Yeah. It's going to be the flip finally. 20% even that one out, Papa Smithy. So you said that this could be a seesaw, and it certainly started off that way. GC Busan, couple of ultimates to work with in the next couple of seconds as that self-destruct almost there for Ariel.
I really like opening Doomfist on this map, because if you can win the first push and then have ultimate if you ever have to retake, there's so many options to contest, as there is Wicked takes out Hurek.
That is so satisfying. Rocket Punch is one of my favorite abilities, as Wicked, yeah, is able to take down Hurek, and that's before the Tac Visor was even an option to be used. So Luxury Watch Red, this is going to get them even and over what GC Busan were able to put down.
In the past, you would open things like Farah on this map, you'd open other things, but if you open Doomfist and get the first capture, get the ultimate, even if you lose the point, the reclaim when you can just disregard terrain and get into the lighthouse with your ultimate is so damn powerful. He finally has the Meteor Strike for a second time.
Yeah, builds it back up. Decent shielding there as well, but he's getting hunted down by a big monkey. Thankfully, Orb of Harmony is there, and there's Hurek throwing down the attack visor, tracking
really
quite nicely, Papa Smithy.
Beautifully, you might say.
Oh, some would say.
That's a Season 3 meme. We're Season 4 now, Atlas. Let's move. Let's update.
Oh, really? What's the next one? That one was so
We'll
good.
find out shortly, probably.
Well, it's going to be another punch as Hurek is just getting dismantled by Wicked. Seems to have his number as his shielding certainly working out for him. Punches Prophet there as well. A difficult target to lock down. But look at this guy, almost looking up to Rascal standards in some of the last maps. And that is going to be overtime ticking down. Luxury Watch Red looking brilliant on the Lighthouse for the first round. And they look happy with it.
And it definitely looks more and more like a Doomfist matter, Atlas. Doomfist was the big hero there, getting repeated picks onto Hurek's Soldier. Seemed to outclass Genji, who does fulfill a pretty similar role, and is just so strong at recontesting the point on Lighthouse if you ever lose it. So when the terrain works for Doomfist, he seems top tier, and when the terrain isn't even that inviting, he seems pretty decent there as well. So Doomfist definitely getting a big check mark next to his name. The first check mark does go the way of that particular game.
Yeah, and of course, Rascal showed us the potential of this Doomfist, but Wicked was having a field day, and some could say that, you know, the caliber of opponent is going to make his life a little bit easier here. However, I was very, very impressed with how he was maneuvering around, especially when hasn't been a lot of time to really play around with it. But Hurek is now going to switch things up, so Farah should be able to stay out of uppercut range. Should be all right.
Definitely not a lot of threat coming through from the Doomfist, but Zenyatta's always had a penchant for taking and grounding the Farah.
Yeah.
Just a solo Farah. We've seen very little pharmacy recently. It has been just solo Farahs from teams like Kong Du Panthera.
Well, Wicked now finds himself in a house to try and keep himself safe, but it doesn't work at all. It's a double kill actually for the Zenyatta on the side of GC Busan. Nicely done. Prophet going to augment that, and see you later, Mech. This is going to be a dominating start for GC Busan, who'd already capped that point.
Yeah, a bit of a compositional answer, the Farah, to something like the Doomfist, because they couldn't stay out in the open because of the Farah having basically free firing opportunities with no soldier to take her down. And this was Doomfist without ultimate, with very low ult percentage. No answer to the Farah in the open, so they're going to try and baby the Doomfist through with some eco pushes before that Meteor Strike can be available.
Yeah, and it seems they're not even going to try and change composition. It is a one-for-one trade here as the Doomfist does fall down once again. Finally, GC Busan getting some of these extra kills. Just compositionally, they're in a better place against Luxury Watch Red right now, and they're almost up to 50%. Something has to change from LW Red if they do want to stay in this.
We did see that when Rascal was failing pushes, he would change to Soldier. He would change to the Genji. He wouldn't stick onto the side of the Doomfist, so that was perhaps the surprising Wicked stay for a second round of pushes. He's onto the Soldier now, but in all of this, he's onto Soldier with no ult percentage and 64% of the control meter, already the way of GC Busan.
Yeah, and Hurek has now noticed that there are some more powerful bullets being thrown his way from Wicked, but already such good percentage built up. I feel like it is, like you say, one push too late from Luxury Watch Red, but they are investing the Transcendence. They really want to try and contest, get this flip as quickly as possible. As see you later, Prophet. He's going to fall down the well, booped in there most likely. Didn't actually see how it happened, but Gesture's going to throw out the Primal Rage, gets rid of Wicked, because that's going to be the cannon barrage, but it's not going to be enough. The rockets are going to be deflected, and it's going to be Huba who takes him down.
He didn't even need the missile barrage on those first two holds, watching Nene and the Tracer battle against Prophet.
And overtime has actually been gained here. We are going to move up most likely to a Luxury Watch Red flip take, but it's very, very late in the piece for that one to come down.
Busan probably just wants to force them to use ultimates to actually claim the point. Not able to get any more bonus ultimates out of it, and a couple of exit frags also go the way of Luxury Watch Red, but we now know one clean push for Busan, and they'll be able to equal up the control points.
Yep, straight into overtime is a dangerous prospect. Hopper moves himself up on top of the house. Prophet waiting himself around the side. So see what the approach is going to be from GC Busan this time. There's the Pulse Bomb coming in. Gets rid of Raw immediately. Nicely done by GC Busan, trying to make the man advantage work to get themselves towards another flip. Only 30% gained here by Luxury Watch Red. And some picks coming in now, left, right, and center. The front line popping off for GC Busan.
Yeah, really nice pick from Prophet. Even didn't get interrupted by the barrier. Got the stick, got the Winston down instantly. And the Transcendence was enough as a solo ult for them to get a pretty big advantage on the point, but not to close it out. Both supports taken down by D.Va.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just going to be Hopper able to get the work done. He does sacrifice most of his health bar and should be taken down. But Nene takes out Gesture there as well, and Luxury Watch Red able to stabilize finally, but it looked so good for GC Busan for a moment.
Yeah, when they were fighting in a single corridor, it felt like Busan had the control. First 3 kills of the fight went their way, but nice evacuative moves from the rest of Luxury Watch Red. Means that no flip could happen. They now have a pretty solid foundation and both support ultimates about to be up. So suddenly, it looks like curtains for GC Busan unless they can find a really big pulse bomb from Prophet.
Yeah, Prophet did actually just tick up to that one there as well. Back to the same position that got him a great flank the last time, but I'm not sure that one's going to work twice in a row. Does get himself in the back, throws out the bomb, but it's just not going to find any of the targets. Unfortunate, as TacVisor is invested, but Hurek just has to run the heck out of the way. No options because the Transcendence was there. And that is going to be ult wasted by GC Busan in that DPS department, an ultimate that they desperately needed. And now Luxury Watch Red, it's their turn to close this one out. They've hit the 99% and they want to make this a 2-0 to start off their Apex career.
Yeah, that is such a great position in terms of ults. They can control so much area. Couple of members streaming onto the point.
Well, actually not the double, but both the D.Va and Omac.
Get your eyes off the kill feed, Atlas.
Sometimes you just get excited by things falling off edges.
Large monkeys jumping in, and GC Busan, against expectation, getting rid of the D.Va ended up being big. And they do actually start the flip, and here we go.
Yeah, was able to get another one back though, and that's going to be it. So we've got the flip over, and we are going to stay in Ilios for a little bit longer.
I'm happy to stay in Greece for another moment. The action on Well was pretty fast and furious. Busan had some great attacks, but when we saw that defense start with both support ultimates and also soldier ult up for Luxury Watch Red, I saw no way forward for the way of GC Busan, but one boop later into a solid push, they get a start, and just like we expected, this one's going to be a long one. I'd be surprised to see it go down in 3 maps, and we're going to go down to 3 maps just for control.
Yeah. Now it's going to be Luxury Watch Red wanting to make sure that they can continue their winning streak, but so does GC Busan. It'll be 5 in a row, equaling that of Luxury Watch Red's domination of Challenger. We are going to check that one out closer, just playing it out clutch in the end. Remember, this is the new member of the team.
And they're opening up. Final point here onto the Widowmaker, first of the night.
Yeah, Hurek actually going to join him there as well, so wanted to make sure that they're not going to be... Oh, who's the better Widow? Hurek's decided that it's him with the headshot.
Let's make things more complicated here. We're actually seeing the DPS duo be Widowmaker and Doomfist. Very interesting. First time we've seen this in Apex for sure.
I think the average range is about a soldier. Get that point.
Already, first Widowmaker ultimate available for Hurek.
Recon going to come out, just try and check things out. Good setup. Prophet, though, is the one that's going to be able to get the kills. There's another one as Wicked. Doomfist seems to be countered by extreme range. Would make some sense, but GC Busan getting kills left, right, and center, and now cleaning things up, heading straight back to the spawn. As Luxury Watch Red, after losing on Well, it feels like this hasn't started off exactly their way. Already up to 30%. Could possibly get worse if they can bunker down and get into position on the side of GC Busan, because when you got a Widowmaker and you can give her the sightlines, so much harder to attack.
And Luxury Watch Red are the first one that have to drop down, move off the Widowmaker, and see then they actually jump onto the Tracer. So now they're full-on hard commitment, short range. Only Zenyatta with true range here, Atlas. Now they have to find the exact correct approach, otherwise they're going to be taken out by the Widowmaker on approach.
Yep, couple of ultimates now being built up on the side of GC Busan.
Oh, they got
There's some revenge, exactly. It's going to be Wicked that gets up in his face and takes him down. Double Transcendence, both going to be invested here to try and contest this point on the side of Luxury Watch Red. Decent percentage already built up, but there is going to be the Meteor Strike.
Used it pretty early, actually, in this scenario. He could have held onto it for much longer. Didn't find any real targets with it.
Yeah, Self-Destruct is going to come in just to buy some space on this point, but Gesture's just punching around, gets rid of Arc as Closer also taken down, so both monkeys dealing with these Lucios. So far, we're up to 82%. It's not being ticked up any further as Luxury Watch Red. It was a decent attack, but GC Busan get back control of this point.
Luxury Watch Red still haven't gotten the flip, so it continues to tick up. Hurek can just open. Felt like Wicked could just have continued to fight in short range with his regular abilities and hold on to his ultimate there, Wicked, but decided to instead open Meteor Strike with the Widowmaker already dead. Got no value, and now we're in overtime.
Yeah, Luxury Watch Red are able to get the first blood, though, in this particular push through. 99% is exactly what GC Busan used even after a flip last time. They don't want to wait that long, though, as they're looking to try and hold on. Hurek getting some picks, but he's being chased down by the Winston.
That's the health pack.
Yeah, nice land onto that health pack, and that means that that front line not going to be available, but Luxury Watch Red, it doesn't seem to matter. Raw able to catch up with the Widowmaker in the end, and it is going to be the flip over. So GC Busan, couple of ultimates in their back pocket, none of them of the support variety. They have to try and flip this once again to get the 2-1.
And in speaking of flips, do we see Hurek finally flip off the Widowmaker after the use of the next ultimate? Because we're going to see a lot of pushing out from Luxury Watch Red, trying to snipe people as they try to get close to the point. That would significantly delay. They don't have a great comp to actually fight in close quarters. As I think Wicked just jumped off the edge.
I feel like that might have been a rocket punch off the edge.
Could have been.
As Pulse Bomb does actually land onto Arc. Nicely played here by Nene, who's really been skipping around, been following him for quite some time, trying to find that way in out the back, and does get that support pick. It's a bit of a trade for the moment, though, as you're right. Hurek actually staying on the Widowmaker now. Moving himself back in, so GC Busan want to try and get back up, and they're already 2/3 through this cap. Decent Transcendence to buy some space for Luxury Watch Red, wanting to get past this 50% mark. They cannot allow this point to be retaken by GC Busan, but they are offering a fair bit of attack. It's not quite able to stay there, as Wicked does get the pick onto Prophet.
Able to chase away the remaining members of GC Busan, who for now are opening up a defensive position. Don't have their supports group with them, and Gesture dies on the back end also. Still on the Widowmaker for Hurek.
Okay.
It was a zoning pulse bomb.
A zoning pulse bomb when his enemies were kilometers away.
Talking about players staying on heroes for too long, we finally see Hurek jump onto the Soldier. Now they have more of a comp that can contest a point. Wicked doesn't have the Meteor Strike, but they're pushing up. It's 85% for Luxury Watch Red now.
Yeah. Almost able to get to that double overtime option here for both sides. We are going to have a pretty cataclysmic fight as things start off. Monjay Lee is actually going to throw down the Transcendence, and there's going to be the sound barrier. Decent staggering of those two abilities, but Luxury Watch Red won't have too much more. They need to get a few more picks from this, and it looks like they are going to be able to. Ariel's going to lose the mech. Gesture's going to die. Prophet just throws out a Pulse Bomb, does at least get the kill onto Doomfist, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Luxury Watch Red are going to be able to do it. Overtime ticks down, and that's the 2-1 in favor of the team that were able to take down GC Busan the last time.
And it ended up being a really big reverse take. The 99% rolled down, and we saw GC Busan be so stubborn, sticking on the Widowmaker that was very useful when they picked up first capture, but not the sort of hero that will actually force the envelope when it comes to a recapture. No ultimate to actually be able to throw in like Attack Visor or Wicked's Meteor Strike that he used multiple times in that fight. When Doomfist finally got onto the point, actually trying to reclaim for Busan became almost impossible.
Yeah, it was a difficult one. You mentioned that, you know, the Meteor Strike wasn't necessarily used hyper-optimally, but otherwise Wicked was able to get some key picks after that switch did come in. So can't talk down to that pick not working necessarily against the likes of the Widowmaker towards the end of that battle, and once it was Raw, just able to take things down, it was working. Tac pause now to be enacted by GC Busan, who want to discuss what went wrong and go into Hybrid feeling good.
First of the night here, as we had two substitutions throughout the course of our Kongdu versus Kongdu match. First time on the big stage for GC Busan and for Luxury Watch Red, so I think both teams will appreciate 3 minutes to dissect the first map, because neither of them came out flawless. It was 2-1 after all.
Yeah, exactly. And Luxury Watch Red, you might assume that they've theoretically got more experience given the fact that they have played in a few more side tournaments, things like that. They've also got a sister team that has been incredibly prevalent in Apex throughout history. GC Busan, a little bit of a different story and probably wanting to make sure that they can shake their sillies out here, get themselves back into the right mindset to move towards hybrid.
I mean, LW Red's definitely a famous name, but they've gone through the wholesale changes, right? This roster has changed very significantly from the early days. Watching a flashback of some cool Doomfist moments, as it still is the Doomfist debut day here in Apex. So I think both teams will really value the extra 3 minutes to retool and understand where we're going to be going on the side of hybrid.
Yeah, and it was an impressive start for Luxury Watch Blue, but GC Busan, this well round was very, very good, and the beginning of this on Ruins was looking great.
I mean, there was stuff for both teams to like about portions of this gameplay. So certainly, just like Uncia didn't win the series by winning control in our first series of the night, we're not expecting necessarily Luxury Watch Red to run away with it because the overall level of play was pretty even between the two teams in our first map of the day.
And some strategic mistakes that were sort of copied on both sides as well, Papa Smithy. So not necessarily switching and adapting quickly enough on both sides could be a flaw for both teams to work through, and could be something that both of these sides are actually discussing right now, saying don't be too stalwart in your decision to stay on a hero. Make sure you're switching it up, make sure you get the right composition for the time, and do it damn quickly.
I mean, adaptation is the unique thing about Overwatch, compared to traditional MOBAs, the fact that you can just switch in and out, and the FPS side of things, obviously, together make it a very different game. So there are teams that are famous for being stubborn. Lunatic High Season 1 and 2 especially had that MO, whereas Kongdu Panther is a team who are known to flip through the heroes as if they're ruffling through a deck of cards looking for the right combination. So GC Busan did end up being on the more stubborn end, and while it really worked with them as they had the right setup to open onto the final map, the Ruins map of Ilios, by the time they had to get back onto the map, that's where the change didn't happen that could have been so important.
Yeah, and even in FPS, it's not like you can change your loadout mid-game as well, things like that. So certainly is a different experience here for Overwatch, and something that you need to get very, very good at very, very quickly. Adaptability, one of the best attributes to any team, and some of the things that we see on our top sides, whether that be patch to patch and whether it be moment to moment in these games. But TAC pause now over. GC Busan will see whether now they have a better plan moving into hybrid, and which hybrid map they are going to choose here as well.
Talk about adaptation. I think the 12 other teams that are going to be involved in Apex Season 4 are so happy they get to see the highlight reels of Doomfist from today.
Yeah.
Because now they know if they didn't have a Doomfist strategy before, it is sorely needed for their first match day. You talked about hybrid. We saw Hollywood earlier today. See where GC Busan will choose to go. And it's going to be Kings Row.
Yeah,
Kings
an old favorite.
An old favorite, but not necessarily as well traveled recently, as teams have been staying away and Lunatic High doesn't get to play it as much as they might wish to do. One of the most balanced of the hybrid maps, one of the most completable as well. And also, Atlas, the site perhaps most likely for the Zarya Reinhardt that Team Korea was loving oh so much in the qualifiers.
I was going to say Zarya Ball, but you took the words right out of my mouth, Papa Smithy. Very excited to see what GC Busan are going to make of this, because they're the ones that chose it. They're the ones with the obvious strategy. Having a chat to their coaches in the TAC pause before the game. Could be some options. Could be some Zarya. Could be some Doomfist to come out on their side as well and try and dominate. You got some happy faces on this side as well. So Luxury Watch Red looking comfortable with Kings Row, and we'll see whether they're going to demonstrate that as we head there right now.
Get it.
Watching the fans start that cheer, I think that was the very first time that she'd done it. She looked very, very excited. As here we are, Kings Row, map number 2, Luxury Watch Red in the blue, confusingly enough, and GC Busan will be over on the red side.
I think you should give her a chance, Atlas. She spent 3-4 seasons of Apex Challenges writing it in caps in chat. It's very different to do it live in a stadium.
That is true. That is definitely true. Raw, the first one to make use of this 10% extra swing speed.
I mean, we've seen people hover it. It's not till the actual map starts rolling that we'll believe in it, but when you start putting all the pieces together, the Reinhardt, Zarya in particular, you do feel like what has been purported to be perhaps only a King's Row special might actually be happening for the first time in Apex.
I like it paired with the Reaper here as well. Not opting in for any sort of Doomfist or anything like that. See what GC Busan decide to go with, and I'm definitely not going to believe their composition until they decide to make their way out. But now it looks like a commitment on the Zarya Reinhardt that we've been talking about all night.
But it's not a full commitment to what I know we were calling in practice cast the Phalanx comp, where it's very short range. It doesn't really have any dive elements, so it's a bit like the famous Ancient Rome total defense and movement. Here they do have a Tracer, so they still do have the ability to dive in and have that annoying Mosquito-esque hero. Now, Hopper's certainly getting a bit of charge as he pushes through, but not that much ult charge yet.
Yeah, not quite, but certainly keeping himself up. Would have loved to see the Zarya that we saw paired with the Doomfist just so you can give him that moment of invulnerability with the shield as he's punching his way forward, but able to get this charge up relatively high. Hopper making himself really cut through these GC Busan members.
Can't spot whether they were actually able to hack the big health pack here, Hurek. I imagine so, with how much ult charge he's already able to pick up. Sombra EMP would certainly be helpful.
Well, there it is. Just pops it in straight away as soon as he builds that one up, and there are the picks flying forward. Pulse Bomb unable to be mitigated by Wicked, and he's just going to be taken down. Hopper answering back, though, as he's just buzzsawing. Gets himself nano boosted as well. Eventually goes down, but the Graviton Surge comes in, and Nene finds himself the Grav Bomb to take down multiple members of GC Busan.
The dying Big Bang actually on defense is able to keep them up. First time we've seen a Big Bang in a long time. No bigger bang available as D.Va not on the side of Luxury Watch Red. I thought the EMP would be enough as they were able to farm it very quickly. But this South Korea-esque comp with the Tracer thrown in is able to keep that first defense, and they still have the Reinhardt ultimate available.
Yeah, Earthshatter is going to be so useful, especially if they can just buzz through the D.Va. I mean, that's what's fantastic about having Hopper there on the Zarya. Microwave her out, Defense Matrix not as useful.
First time I've seen a dying Graviton Surge be exactly the correct move by Hopper.
Yeah.
Had a lot of trust in Tracer being in the right range. The comms certainly was good on the side of Luxury Watch Red, and we're already 2 minutes into this hold.
Yeah, there's the Earthshatter actually coming out, just turns around the fadeaway Earthshatter. Not going to be able to find the pin too much, and it's actually not going to be able to net them very many options here. Luxury Watch Red now trying to answer back, utilizing the sound barrier that was a little bit too late to save Raw. So members of the front line struggling, and now Luxury Watch Red on the run. GC Busan should be able to get this.
Yeah, even though they have Death Blossom, I don't know if they'll be able to find Reaper a way in. Reinhardt's back up, so they can go for the last second contest. We're going to see it now, but there's the EMP from Sombra.
Yeah, and Wicked just really wants to be able to press that Q button, but it should mean that he's unable to get in there. EMP not actually going to be able to get kills necessarily, and the Fire Strike's going to take down Prophet on the back end. Another nano boost as Hopper doesn't quite have very many targets to opt into.
But the fact that you can just throw the nano boost onto Zarya, and D.Va has to get the heck out. She can't stay there and actually throw up the shields and stay on the point. They don't even need to throw it on for some sort of Beyblade action. It's more valuable on Zarya because she instantly negates D.Va as a defensive hero. And this defense has been very sturdy. And 42 seconds in, there's a chance of a full hold.
Yeah, that Phalanx composition that you were talking about, it's feeling 300-esque right now, Papa Smithy. Hopper does have that Graviton Surge once again. Not a lot being gained from the Pulse Bomb thrown out, as you saw before. Prophet now trying to build up to another one, but look at all the Q buttons that LW Red have available to them. There's 20 seconds to go, and they have so many tools. It's another hack landing onto Hopper, but it's not going to really do too much. GC Busan making their way in. Nene does fall, but a lot of the tools are still up. There's the Graviton Surge, and no exit options, remember. Wicked is going to take down Hureg. But can they get too much more? Sound Barrier is doing a lot of work here for GC Busan, and they only lost the one, and they're getting the kills back. Finally, the pickup comes in, and 2.5 minutes now to get through the streets.
Yeah, no full hold, and even though they had the ult economy Atlas, at the end of the day, the hack onto Hotbar into just the Sombra's presence meant they were never able to layer their abilities like they wanted to. Able to get a lot of exit kills as they wait for the cart to finally move. Certainly with not a massive amount of time, but they will not be full held by a comp that was very reminiscent of what South Korea were running at the World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah, now LW Red do have to change this one up. Now that we've moved into the escort phase, it's not going to be this slow-moving Juggernaut Phalanx composition available for them to work with. But Wicked is going to be back on that Doomfist, and I'm excited to see what he can do now, jumping on rooftops.
On attack, I don't think it's that bad pushing a cart with the Phalanx, because you can just have Reinhardt and Zarya occupy space, but on defense, getting to the cart is a bit hard to set up, and you want to take advantage of the sightlines available. Busan did not have a lot of ultimates available to even use, but still got the push. And they still have them up now. So they have a lot of options here, and the street phase is going to be difficult for Luxury Watch Red to slow down.
Yeah, Wicked actually just jumped in and died, unfortunately. Maybe a bit of a rush of blood to the head, so that is going to remain in control of GC Busan, as Hureg is just throwing rockets through, covering fire, as this cart moved extraordinarily quickly towards point B.
I mean, whether you're on the Doomfist or on the Reaper, if you want to get any sort of ult percentage, you have to hard commit, and that led to the death from Wicked. Speaking of hard commits.
Yeah, it's going to be the Transcendence thrown out for Hagopian. We'll see whether it's going to be enough, but it's not looking like it as he's just taken down. Wicked's able to get one back as well, punching the monkey in the face. Prophet with the pick on the back end, but that's not quite enough to get this turnaround. The man advantage is there. Luxury Watch Red answering back nicely.
Does mean that GC Busan has one attack left to them, so you're right. Very important defense there from Luxury Watch Red. That was with only the Transcendence available. Sound Barrier is going to be there to buy even more time. See what Prophet can do. He's the one most likely to have a game-changing ultimate with where the ult economy is currently for GC Busan.
Yeah, and LW Red really didn't put in too much effort defending during that streets phase. They know that if they wait until the very end, until right before the point, it's just so hard to reinforce if you get any of these picks. Good 8 with the defense matrix, stops the pulse bomb. Prophet has his up as GC Busan. Maybe an ult advantage to utilize, but already 2 kills from Luxury Watch Red. Double self-destructs coming in. No one's safe as Hopper able to take down Prophet, who was dashing in the wrong place. Rocket Barrage flying in. A decent kill onto Nene. Both of the Tracers falling down, but Raw, he's going beast mode. As the Primal Rage should be able to help take down some of these kills, and there goes overtime, and there goes GC Busan from that push. Point B, just a bridge too far.
And you can see how excited Arc is, and sure, it wasn't a full hold, but on King's Row, one of the most attackable maps in the hybrid pool, it feels like a full hold.
Yeah.
They're feeling great about how much time they were able to delay with the Reinhardt, Zarya, and Reaper defense on point A. And now we get to see what's going to come out on defense for the side of GC Busan. And if they also envision a situation where they'll have to go against a very similar defensive comp, whether there's a strategy to actually put a thorn in the side of what is a very robust defense.
Yeah, and now some opportunities for Wicked to head back towards his favorite Doomfist option there as well. He has looked very, very impressive thus far. Didn't start off on that side. As you can see, it's an odd place to park. I probably wouldn't go that far from the curb in a one-way. Just really, I'd probably mount that curb. Otherwise, other cars are not going to be able to get past. But that should be all right. See what Luxury Watch Red opt in for on their attack.
I think the defense is perhaps the more interesting side. Usually it is attack that we scrutinize the most, but on defense we see GC Busan going a lot more old meta. I see Diva, we see Tracer, and Soldier to abuse sightlines, so it's not going to be the South Korea-esque Phalanx comp that we like to call it, where you're focusing on the short-range DPS and forcing the enemy to dive at you. It's going to be defensive dive largely from the side of GC Busan.
It's so weird saying that it's not like the South Korean comp, because, I mean, all of these teams from South Korea, but, of course, the South Korean team World Cup qualifier that were able to win straight maps. Certainly something that we do need to be talking about.
And we sat there prepping because we saw the scrims even before Apex Season 3 final happened. We did not see either team try it during the course of the Apex finals. This time the Zarya buff's in, though. And that buff is not insignificant. We're seeing Wicked open on the Hanzo. He's sticking with it so far, so it's actually going to be an offensive Hanzo from Wicked.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of this actually coming out, especially on attack for the first round of King's Row as well.
And it's an attack, Reinhardt Zarya, so it's going to be that same Phalanx comp opening on attack. We saw Flower running this for South Korea.
Yeah, it feels super old school. This is almost like one of those old battles with archers at the back, and you've got the guys with the shields at the front. But so far, it's not working at all for Luxury Watch Red, because that's almost a team kill. Hotbar is going to make it exactly that, as Wicked couldn't respawn in time. So maybe switch it up a bit, guys.
Going with the double sniper comp, which has a very squishy center, even though Reinhardt and Zarya
I feel like we should be yelling things like, archers at the ready.
I mean, if they're not peeled for, if they're not able to get any value, it's a problem. But you could also argue they're just going to try and farm the first ult combination here between Zarya and Hanzo, and that's an old favorite of the Graviton Surge and the Dragon Strike.
And he's actually going to be able to get a pick here, so feeling a little bit better about it, but immediately answer. Great pulse bomb from Prophet. Hunts down the Widowmaker.
Don't really get the double sniper part of the squad, and I see that Nene also seems to agree.
No, you switch off. No, you switch off.
I think the Dragon Strike's definitely going to be the more important ultimate, but doesn't have a Graviton Surge coming anytime soon to pair with it for Hotbar. And they've also abandoned the Reinhardt style of the comp, so just seems like we're kind of throwing darts at the dartboard when it comes to hero selections here. They do have Res available, though, for Arc.
We're halfway between two compositions, it feels like. But yeah, exactly. Res is there.
That's usually a bad news story, because it doesn't really do the best parts of either of the more defined compositions.
Like the jack of all trades cliche. That is going to be that. He's looking for the ultimate. Threw it out. Got one kill there, so nicely done. Wicked just getting himself in the right position. Transcendence comes out from GC Busan to answer, but oh yeah, my god. Gesture just making sure that he's dead in enemy lines, and Raw is going to do the same thing on the other end of this fight. We need the monkey back here for GC Busan to create more of that front line. Luxury Watch Red once again answered. GC Busan looking so good on this defense. Double res does come out from Arc. Can this be enough to get things done? Prophet says no, he's already built up. And Pulse Bomb once again, trying to find a position for it in the back line, but doesn't feel pressured enough in order to press his Q button at all.
So if you remember the parts of the comp that Luxury Watch Red started with, the Zarya, Reinhardt, and the Hanzo, that part has been run by Team Korea. That part made sense, but you also need the Phalanx part, which is the short-range DPS, the Reaper to stop people diving, because dive is so strong against two snipers, Atlas. They're not able to peel for both of them, and because they didn't have any short-range damage, it was the worst of both worlds, and it's been just kind of the killing fields for GC Busan on defense, because the end of the comp, running double sniper, was just a mistake from Luxury Watch Red.
And mostly Prophet there as well, getting staggered kills one after the other, just pick after pick after pick, and that has bought about 30 seconds of much-needed time for Luxury Watch Red, who only have 30 now to try and pick up this first point. It could be a full hold here for GC Busan to even out this series. Would make some sense because we mentioned how close these teams were, and it's looking like that right now. So many picks for GC Busan, and they're so far forward. This is a team with momentum, Papa Smithy, and this is leading us to understand why they picked King's Row in the first place.
Well, this is definitely not what we expect out of King's Row, a full hold on point A. It's not something we would have put pay. We were excited with GC Busan's attack, and now suddenly, watching here, first pick already for GC Busan.
Yeah, a lot of desperation actually coming out of Nades. There's the ultimate. Meteor Strike is going to come down inside the house, picks up one kill onto one of the supports. Was what he was aiming for, but GC Busan get themselves back onto the point. They need to remain on here on the side of LW Red if they want to be able to take this down. They haven't even got one tick though. It's looking so good for GC Busan. Picks coming in for Prophet. You mentioned killing fields earlier. It feels like that has only continued. And a lot of that has been enacted by Prophet, who tore through the side of LW Red to bring the win over to GC Busan.
And we finally get our first full hold on Kings Row in a long time in Apex. GC Busan, their attack was not great. They didn't even capture point B. We were talking about how we were impressed with Luxury Watch Red on defense with the Team Korea-esque Phalanx comp. But their attempts, their rejigging of it, because you did see South Korea iterate, right? It wasn't always Reaper. We saw Junkrat from them, Hanzo, McCree. The double sniper part was the really big question, though, because neither of them can do damage in short range. Largely, they'll be harassed out by the defensive dive. And against defensive dive, the comp just didn't function. They stayed on it too long, which is becoming a bit of a trend in this particular series. Get full held. And now we go into the break with 1-1 as a scoreline, which makes sense given our pre-tournament expectations, but is a bit of a surprise given how Luxury Watch Red played first control and then the attacking phase of this, defensive phase, of Kings Row.
Yeah, and LW Red actually probably didn't understand that Prophet was going to tear through that entire backline that were trying to get those shots in. His play was exceptionally good. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to that short break. When we get back, we'll see what our assault map of choice is going to be by LW Red. It's their decision to make, and we'll see what they decide to do after a short break.
에너지가 필요한 순간 핫식스와 함께 핫하게 즐겨라. 올여름 가장 핫한 리그 오버워치 핫식스 에이펙스.
train, record, and stream without compromise.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Apex Season 4. Luxury Watch Red versus GC Busan. And we're tied up after what was a pretty disappointing attacking phase for LW Red as we moved into Kings Row.
After what was a pretty inspired defense phase for Luxury Watch Red, they were so hyped. You saw Ark in the back of the booth celebrating after they were able to deny a point B capture on offense from the side of GC Busan, but then a bit of an anemic push. They tried to tinker with what is the Zarya-Reinhardt duo that can be so powerful on Kings Row especially. They threw in 2 snipers, and sure, we saw Flower playing the Hanzo pretty extensively with this comp, but going double sniper meant they had no damage to actually kill the defensive dive that came out from Busan, so after a point it felt almost inevitable that it would be a full hold from Busan. That was achieved, and we knew it was going to be close, but 5 maps is looking very likely as we jump onto our 3rd map of the night. Will be the choice of Luxury Watch Red.
Yeah, see what they decide to do to try and claw their way back in. We thought it was going to be close, but we didn't think it was going to be compositions that we're going to decide this one. And it is going to be Volskaya that we head to for our assault map of choice. No more Lunar Colony for us today. Glad we got to see it in our first match, but Volskaya, an old favorite to be opted in for here for LW Red, wanting to keep things pretty static.
Could see some Reaper on Volskaya. That was the big pick you'll remember between Lunatic High and Kongdu Panthera, was Reaper being escorted into the big health pack next to the point A to try and get advantages there, and then Jae-Hong flexing onto soldiers. A lot of potential rock, paper, scissors on Volskaya, and what you open here, maybe even a Doomfist, can be very interesting.
Yeah, let's see whether Wicked's actually going to be able to utilize that one. Luxury Watch Red have, of course, chosen this, and his looked very, very good on the Doomfist. We'll see whether we get it as we head to Russia, Volskaya Industries.
I get it.
Okay, fans getting a bit lively now as this series has evened out. Moving over to Assault, we'll see exactly what we are going to get as far as change-ups are concerned. Understandably, Wicked looking for the Doomfist, at least hovering it for the moment, but Sombra is certainly a favorite on Volskaya. Haven't necessarily seen as much of it, though, on this patch.
So interesting to see, though, Atlas. We're on 113, that's the new patch, like you say, and we're still getting big data sets. By the end of 112, it was very clear that the only counter to Sombra was Sombra. We had Sombra battles between DPS players, support players, whoever hacked their health back first would get a big advantage. That was where we got in the meta. Now Doomfist is there, so if you, for example, play around the big health back you can see in the room behind point A for long enough, then something like the Meteor Strike can answer someone camping that building very extensively. So Doomfist versus Sombra may actually evolve into a matchup. Still waiting to see if we could stick on the Doomfist. We've played it a lot today. I'm just excited to see, because the health back defense on Volskaya is probably the biggest talking point of these Sombra defense offensive openings. Let's see how it goes here, because going down the right side is pretty much the standard on attack here.
Yep, and it is going to continue. I feel like what you say is exactly right, but I feel like also if the Doomfist is on the attack, yes, it can certainly work, and if they're making the aggressive moves, but EMP can shut him down very, very effectively. Leave him just as a squishy man that can't really do much punching. Certainly can be a problem. Nene off in the back line trying to get some poke damage in. Good damage onto Winston to start this one off, and already an EMP is built up.
Just has to vacate the point because he falls low. He might be taken down.
Yeah, a lot of people actually doing it. Not very much as that EMP comes out, but you can still left click, and he was just destroyed. Gesture also follows suit as well. Nicely played by LW Red. And seems like the answer to the Sombra is killer, Papa Smithy. Just utilize the only button that you have access to after the EMP.
And you see Busan already mixing up their comp, high mobility, but probably not enough time to get back onto the points. A first attack success for the Doomfist comp. And to me, the issue there for GC Busan was they got too aggressive. They got the Sombra ultimate. They all dived into a choke where Luxury Watch Red were just stronger fighters. They abandoned their plan of playing around their health packs and just were picked off in short summation. So too aggressive with the EMP, and it baited them into over-aggression.
Yep. Speaking of baited, not going to find any pulse bomb there either on the side of Nene, who is dancing himself around. Oh, Hurek, I believe. Apologies. Wicked does have the ultimate available to him, as Luxury Watch Red have thrown out the Transcendence already. Able to get that punch, Prophet taken down. This could start the snowball for LW Red to try and get this pick off. Wicked's actually just controlling this space. The Seismic Slam doing work there as well as they move on to the point. He still has the ultimate there as well. So GC Busan going to be very difficult to defend. Luxury Watch Red just, as you can see, filling the kill feed. Everyone taken down from GC Busan. Now they're going to have to trickle onto this point and try and hold this one off. Only one more tick remains. EMP comes in, but is it going to be enough, as LW Red already had the sound barrier available to them?
Yeah, really nice positioning from Arc outside of EMP range to use it after EMP. Here's the Meteor Strike.
Yeah, doesn't waste any time, just jumps down straight on top of that Baby Diva and gets the punch on Prophet as well. Hureg falls, everyone dead. And that's going to be that. 5.5 minutes in the time bank for LW Red.
Yeah, beautiful attack and coordination on point B especially. Loved Arc hanging back with the sound barrier, knowing that eventually the pop-out would come from the Sombra, trying for the last second contest. Was able to use sound barrier as he was in EMP range. You see Wicket looking at his teammate a bit quizzically, but they have to be happy with what they ended up with. 5.5 minute time bank is massive for the side of Luxury Watch Red.
Yeah, now all they need to do is get that defense working for them, and what worked on King's Row, it was certainly defense. The attack left a bit to be desired, but now, as we head back to Volskaya, it feels like LW Red's style that we saw demonstrated before can now be utilized once again. We'll see how it goes.
Will they run it on defense as well, is my question towards Luxury Watch Red. I've seen some Doomfist on defense do very well for Rascal.
Yeah.
On the side of Kongdu Panthera. Just a bit surreal to not see a defensive Sombra and only an offensive Sombra, but for now at least, that's what we're left with.
It was actually on Assault as well that we saw this be so effective for Rascal as well. The Doomfist able to get things done. Was, of course, on Lunar Colony, a very different map and a little bit more enclosed, less space to work with, meaning that you can just dash around and punch people.
You can also play around enclosed space, as we're seeing with how Wicked is opening here. That's kind of the problem, is that when you have a Sombra defense, you're playing around the big health pack, but if you're able to guide the Doomfist into that area. There's a lot of enclosed spaces to get maximum damage out of the dash from the Doomfist, a rocket punch, and just get massive 300 plus damage instant bursts and pick people where health packs aren't going to be healthful if you're being burst for your entire life bar.
Yeah, bashing them into those walls, certainly an effective way to do that, but now we'll see exactly which way GC Busan want to go. Is normally just up that right-hand side, like you mentioned on the previous attack for LW Red. Now Wicked.
He's camping, looking for a pick, gets one.
Yeah, Closer just going to be taken out. Immediately doubles the entire support line. And he's going to punch his way through to that exact room that you were talking about. Nene, so much space
But
now.
it's so cool that that worked, because what has happened for basically months now is teams hanging around the health pack being much more defensive with their positioning on defense. This is a different type of defense when you don't have a Sombra to play around, and it just caught Busan completely unawares.
Yeah, and this is the lowest percentage of ult that I've ever seen from a Sombra at this state of the game. And I know it's only been a few seconds, but still, there's a decent point. Wicked now going to be taken out, though. Prophet, back to his old ways, getting that pick off, but Gesture's going to fall as well. Prophet trying to do what he can, and now that there's no Doomfist to beat his face off, should be a little bit of a better prospect, moving themselves onto the point now. Not as quickly as that of LW Red's attack. But now Prophet throws out the pulse bomb just a little bit willy-nilly. Doesn't find the options that he was looking for, but now the tick-up begins. LW Red will see whether they actually make it back. It doesn't look like they'll get here in time, unless some time can be bought by Nene, who's extraordinarily low.
Doomfist here as well, so they're looking for that delay. Remember, the time bank is a secondary consideration here for LuxuryWatch Red. They have a large one. They want to decrease Busan's, even if the kill feed's only going to go one way.
Yeah, that is looking very, very blue right now. As Prophet actually trying to stagger these kills out at the same time. He'll get onto this point very, very quickly and start capping that one out. The snowballs are certainly an option. Barrier was there to stop that pickoff, but wasn't there for long enough as Raw is going to be taken down. Wicked now gets rid of the Tracer, which was his problem. Jumps up into the sky, though, and once again, you've got an EMP used, but Transcendence too far away to really work that one out. And the staggering of these ultimates not necessarily working here for GC Busan.
Yeah, Hagelpen really wanted to snowball capture with the Transcendence, but able to come back in with the ultimate there was Wicked. Didn't get any kills of it, not enough burst, just straight up from that ability to kill anyone through Transcendence. But they get positioning back on the point. It does slow down the advance of GC Busan.
Now LW Red setting themselves up. Defensive formation now regained. Okay. Sound barrier now going to be invested by GC Busan, but Ariel already going to lose that mech. They're not going to commit on top of this. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication now from GC Busan, who will now get wiped out and will need to start this attack all over again. And you can see LW Red, their attack was so good that it feels like it's been no time at all, but already we're eating into that time bank that had already been set up by the side.
Ults like what we saw from Closer happen situationally, but when we see those ults, they're usually with heroes like Reaper already there. And the idea is, let's use just the solo Lucio ult and get 50% charge from the shotguns and have an important DPS ult up next time. There wasn't that synergy when we saw that attack, so it was a really big mistake on the Lucio ultimate because it didn't grant GC Busan anything, and now they have to wait for the excruciatingly long time till sound barrier's back up.
Yeah, but some decent kills coming in. Prophet offering one back as he switched over to the Reaper, but the hack comes in and Wicked unable to get anything done. Arc, sound barrier is there, but you mentioned this before, you can't really get all of the damage in there if you've already lost one of your big damage dealers when you use that ultimate.
Wicked can come back in with the ultimate, so using Transcendence to buy time. It's fine from the side of LuxuryWatch Red, and Busan have to respect the re-engage, and that's why LuxuryWatch Red actually being very robust in their defense, and once again GC Busan are frustrated.
Yeah. Ariel gonna make his way back as quickly as he can, but demeched and destroyed. Means that without the Diva, is going to be the back away. So LW Red once again setting up that defense. It feels like the defensive use of this Doomfist is working out quite nicely, and Prophet wants to get the Death Blossom to work.
Side of LuxuryWatch Red will know what's up. He's been on the map for multiple minutes, so very likely he has Death Blossom available. Angle of attack can be important. They want the Talon attack, which is going to be the EMP first and then the ultimate But they've already lost 2 members, so this is probably not going to be the push.
Well, the answer is going to come down as Prophet's able to pick up one, but immediately it's going to be answered by Raw. Nicely done. LW Red make short work of that push in, but at least GC Busan didn't invest the ultimates.
And now they have the talent comp. Now they can have EMP into Death Blossom, very common on Anubis, for example, and on 2-point capture in general. Luxury Watch Red don't have support ultimates to answer it. It could still pick off one on their attack. It still is difficult to get a Reaper onto point B, even with something like Shadow Step available. Let's see if they can actually set up for what can be a devastating duo of ults.
Well, EMP is going to fly through first. Can we get the Death Blossom in there? Prophet actually deciding not to use it, and may not even necessarily need it just yet, as there's the Transcendence, just getting the space for GC Busan. Still has that Death Blossom. Hureg is the one to fall, but GC Busan still with the man advantage on this point. They've got the first tick. That should be the second coming in relatively soon, unless Wicked can get some work done. Does have the Meteor Strike if he needs it. There it goes right now, looking for Prophet, but Sound Barrier is going to keep them relatively healthy.
They tried to wait out for the Sound Barrier to run out, wasn't able to. Gets the dash, Rocket Punch onto the Reaper.
Gets himself into the shadows, but punched while it's on cooldown. Wicked, really good hunt down tactics as Nene finds the high ground, and Luxury Watch Red once again back in a dominant position.
And it was just a single tick as well, Atlas. Both support ultimates came up as the respawns were happening. Meteors tried to get back onto the point, then double support ultimate available, only Sound Barrier needed. Now they will have a Transcendence advantage for a long time, and Prophet never really found the right time to use the Death Blossom. They will have the combo up soon though, as Sombra ultimate, as we well know, is always going to be available very frequently.
Agapion is able to get the pick off onto Wicked. Could be an opportunity now for GC Busan to move in, as LW Red also forced to use that Transcendence, but okay, Death Blossom going to be used on only one. And unfortunately, it may not necessarily be enough because he had to trade his life for it, did Prophet. He was holding it for so very long, but I mean, they do manage to get the next tick, and this could be the landing as Wicked's going to be taken down immediately as he gets onto that point. In goes the EMP as GC Busan are able to establish control, get onto this point. Don't quite have that ticking up just yet. Moving themselves out of the way. 1 minute will be in that time bank if they can get this next little line, but LW Red not letting them get it for free. Everyone now jumping back onto the point. Remember, much easier if you're on the defense to try and get back here, so any of these picks for LW Red is important. Transcendence also going to be invested for GC Busan. This could be the way to turn the tide as Nene trying to say no to that.
Doesn't have any ultimates here. They need to be able to use their ults to hold it. Last potential tick. Hacked his Roar.
Yeah, Primal Rage also comes down just before that came in there as well. So Wicked able to take down Gesture. It's looking like LW Red should be able to get the hold here against all odds. It looked good for GC Busan, and look at how close to this pickoff that they are. Pulse Bomb goes very wide, and now LW Red are getting that clean up. We've got 10 seconds to go. GC Busan are falling left, right, and center. And now what was about 99% of the way towards the cap, it's going to be the victory on Assault for LW Red as they hold off GC Busan.
They pop down the wall. That looks like it was just going to be buying time from the side of Luxury Watch Red. Just run down the timer when they had the Mei come in. Usually, with these days, when the Mei comes in, it's just going to be delayed. It's not enough to actually have a turnaround. But the ult banks were building up as they poked onto the base again and again. They weren't in overtimes, they didn't have the penalty, and were able to respawn fast enough and got the ults up, opened up the space, and now Luxury Watch Red open up a 2-1 lead over GC Busan.
Yeah, match point now available against this team. They're going to feel like this is another opportunity to get exactly what happened last time under their belt as well, because GC Busan weren't able to take down LW Red the last time these two teams met, but that was such a long time ago. At least 5 matches in Challenger since these teams have faced the first round.
Given that GC Busan won the first phase of Challenger and then only fell to Luxury Watch Red, we knew there was bad blood between these two teams. They've given interviews where they've really called each other out as targets, which of course is easy to do when you're in the same group. They have familiarity with each other, but Luxury Watch Red, outside of one appalling attack on King's Row attack, have looked like the better team. We're jumping on to Escort. See what GC Busan want to select to slow down the advance of their opponents, Luxury Watch Red, and it's going to be the Dorado once again.
Yep, Dorado, much like our first series, is going to be chosen as our escort map of the night. Excited that we've got all different styles of map in both of our series to debut Season 4 of Apex. Luxury Watch Red, I mean, you're right. They have looked better, and the time that they looked worse was almost purely based on composition as well. So you have to say that mechanically, this team is looking superior moving into this Dorado map, and maybe some changes need to be made by GC Busan to try and get themselves the edge. And it could be that strategic side they need to aim for.
And so far, the team that has more played the 113 comps, the Doomfist, the new South Korea defense and offense with the Zarya and Reinhardt, have profited largely from that. We've already seen attack and defense from Roscoe on the Doomfist in the previous map. We might see it here again from Luxury Watch Red.
Yeah. See whether they do bring out the Zarya as well. We've seen in the past has worked fantastically well on Dorado, but we've had some pretty incredible Zarya players to watch in Apex, be it Season 2, Season 3, or even Season 1. Let's see whether we see it again here in Season 4 as we head to Dorado.
I get it.
LW Red fans really starting to come ahead of that of GC Busan, who have been falling themselves behind a little bit. That assault map certainly not looking fantastic for the team, and the attack from LW Red looked brilliant.
Might be time for our Australian brethren, Atlas. Might be
Where's
Junkrat
Roadhog?
time.
We need both.
Well, you're not going to see Roadhog for a while, Atlas. Sorry to tell you.
Yeah, I know.
Blizzard decided no Roadhog allowed.
Only one Australian allowed. Well, this desk will prove them wrong.
Yes.
You have two. Brilliant.
And Dorado was always a Junkrat map. The sightlines are almost perfect for grenades on this particular map.
Yeah. So Smite agrees. He was sick of playing Winston.
That was attack
Yeah.
Winston, and of course the attack Junkrat that he broke out that captured everyone's imagination for X6. This is the defense Junkrat that's more common. Farah's going to try and disrupt the high ground defense here that's been set up by Luxury Watch Red.
Yep. So GC Busan going for the more long-range explosive projectiles. Yeah, Wicked. They just concede that first part of the Streets phase, and now when it comes to this bridge, we'll see whether the defense is going to come in. But Hureg getting a lot of free shots, not a lot of options as far as taking down this far, but the Ana is there. So LW Red, if you've got 1J Lee getting the work done.
Notice that 1J Lee needs to shut down Hureg, like you say, but Hureg largely didn't have any healing. There's no pharmacy being involved, so he was down to 83 HP, had to regroup, and that relieved some pressure. Triple Tank was often run on Dorado on defense, and it was a much more shallow hold further towards the market area. That's why we send them hang back. It's okay.
Yeah, Rocket Barrage comes in, 3 picks very, very swiftly for GC Busan, moving towards point A very, very quickly. Well and truly in the market square, and it feels like it's certainly working on attack. Immediate switch off of that Junkrat as Wicked's going to move back to the Soldier. They know that they can't battle this pharmacy, at least not until they get inside that power plant.
And the Farah was able to farm up the missile barrage with the rockets we saw earlier, regroup, heal to full, and then just DPS down with the missile barrage. Does so much damage that if there's no threat onto Farah, you actually get to see the damage that ability can do. And now the downside when you go for these very point A focused defense comps is that you don't have any ult percentage when you set up in the Streets phase.
Well, the important thing to note is the fact that LW Red did switch off that Junkrat on the first time of it not working. So Wicked immediately on the Soldier, trying to change things up. And this has been the criticism that we've had, is being a little bit too stubborn. Correct. Still looking for more picks, but it's going to be Prophet once again, getting the work done on the Tracer. Raw diving a little bit too deep.
Streets phase so far comfortable for Busan, and they only really needed the rocket barrage on their point A attack, and they have everything else available still, whereas Luxury Watch Red are on an eco defense, just hoping they can delay the cart and actually pick up some ultimates for themselves.
And the agreement today seems to be you make your defensive stand here. Barriers are coming out now. We've got the sound barrier invested for LW Red. They want to hold on and stabilize the cart here at this point, but they're going to lose the Zenyatta. Prophet doing a great job just harassing that backline. Nene gets one back as well, and probably against the flow of play at the same time.
I mean, anything they can do on defense here with how down they were in ultimates is a credit to Nene so far. Has been great at trying to slow things down. They were set up to fail on Street's phase with how many swaps they made, evacuating any ult economy, so credit to them, specifically Nene. This is a hold they were really not set up to make.
Yeah, and now they've got the Transcendence available. Self-destructs there as well to get people away from that payload. And Wicked does have a lot of options. There's the recall needed for Nene to get himself back out of trouble. Hurek, Rocket Barrage once again. He looked great with it under that bridge. Can he find the right option for it? Nene wants to say no, but of course the aerial assault is something that you shouldn't want to deal with. Pulse Bomb goes wide. Not able to get any sticks. Prophet will need to build that one up once again.
See where Wicked is set up, as he usually can be in a great position to hold down the fort.
Multiple orbs going to take down the opposing number though. 1J lead definitely looking good.
Hurek's going on a really defensive evacuation
I'm
mission.
getting out of here.
Is he though? He needs some ground there, he gets it. Okay. Yeah. Winston might get him still.
He's just going to get taken down.
How embarrassing.
I don't know, I liked it. Good concussive shot coming out from Hureg and Raw. I like how he roared as he jumped on top. He's like, this is a good idea! No.
But do consider that he did zone away what was the centerpiece of their point A attack for a long time. Not able to group the Pharah, and Pharah was taken down here. They still have all their ultimates available on defense. So after a snowball first point push, the Streets phase has been alarmingly long for GC Busan.
Yeah, and Hureg actually going to switch over to the Soldier now as well. So has been targeted so much that he says, well, I'm just not going to be that character anymore, and that should work. We've got an investment of the Transcendence coming in here. Hagopion trying to get it sorted out for his team. Both sound barriers now going to be invested at the same time. Both teams really wanting to make the push happen here right at this point. Point B, exactly where GC Busan really want to get to. We saw it was Kongdo Oncia unable to make it to that point. Last time we saw this.
It was so critical for the side of GC Busan to pick it up there. Otherwise, I thought they might be held on the Streets phase, pushing up for exit kills as well. Raw taken down a second time in short succession.
Yep, 2.5 minutes now on the clock as they refresh that timer. It's ticking down relatively low, and now to get through this power plant can be difficult here for GC Busan. See whether they can keep that pressure on, get themselves in the right positions. Nene set up with this pulse bomb. Can he find the right flank to get it working in their favor? Wicked just going to throw down the tac visor and die. It's a double kill for the Primal Raging Gesture. He's going to aggressively move this one forward. Nice work for GC Busan who keep this cart moving.
And there's no way for them to actually continue to contest it here. They try to load in one-on-one to stop the cart from pushing freely. They do that much, but it's going to be one more defense available for the side of Luxury Watch Red. All ultimates used from the side of Busan, though. Transcendence soon to be available.
Yeah, it's going to be their only option, as well as that Pulse Bomb that should be up relatively soon. Wicked going to switch back to the Doomfist.
Wants to
now that
surprise
we're
them.
inside.
He wanted to surprise them with a pick, not able to do so with the first Rocket Punch.
We'll have that one up very, very soon, though, as that's going to be the pick off onto Hurek. This now could be the option for LW Red to get themselves something back. 1.5 minutes on the clock, and now the picks come in for the defensive squad. Nice work as they set up this defense. Should be able to get themselves some decent options with both support ults above 60%.
We saw what Wicked could do with this Doomfist on defense on Volskaya. If you come in predictably down a long corridor, the Rocket Punch will one-shot you in a single rotation from the Doomfist. So the mind games are now here. That's why he's camping this spot.
Yeah, doesn't get the charge up quite enough, though, and the defense matrix and just the Diva body in front is going to stop too much happening. Pulse Bomb flies through, doesn't find any joy, though. As Ariel's going to get healed back up and should be absolutely fine. Prophet so close to falling. GC Busan do keep themselves up.
GC Busan used everything to push the cart this far, but so far been frustrated at building up any other ultimates. They will have double support ultimates soon. They're going to lead with one and hope they can build up some DPS ults in this round.
Yeah, Transcendence actually being invested, and Wicked decides that he still wants to go in. The answering Transcendence is there and does eventually get that pick off on the Zenyatta, but it's costing him his life as Hureg's able to do it. Now Sound Barrier thrown down from GC Busan, who want to push the envelope, want to get this cut up the last hill towards a full push here on Dorado to bring us to 2-2. Tac Visor coming down from Hureg to once again add insult to injury on the side of LW Red, but they're not losing their lives just yet. Both supports up. The front line's still there as well in the form of Raw. Meteor Smash comes in as Wicked respawns, and nicely done. They'll be able to get a couple of picks.
The defense there from the side of Doomfist was impressive. See the ultimate being thrown down, the self-destruct just to buy space, but GC Busan no guarantee to full push Dorado.
Yep, and Hotbar does have self-destruct of his own as well. Throws it up into the sky, looking for what he can get. That's going to come in, not going to get any picks as the hides were there, but GC Busan were forced to split, and that means that Wicked can get into that front line by the looks of things and take down Gesture. Decent grenade comes down. His Prophet's now been nanoed. That's not what you want, but it's a good sleep dart as he takes down Nene.
Things are still pretty even. Transcendence back up for the side of Luxury Watch Red. They're trying to hold here. 2 kills, and right now it's only Ariel contesting the cart. They all have to drop down.
Yeah, it looked very, very good for GC Busan, but this overtime should tick down relatively soon. The reinforcements just not healthy enough, and not even there, as they managed to hold off, but that is one hell of a push that LW Red need to achieve.
A great push by the side of GC Busan, but they wanted more after they successfully undid the Junkrat defense on point A. Street's phase was a lot longer than they would have wanted, and they didn't have enough attacks to eco push into the power plant and ended up being frustrated they couldn't full push. Achievable push for Luxury Watch Red, but that was exactly what we said about King's Row, and they tried to get too cute and too creative on their first attack and ended up looking silly. Let's see if they can actually dissect some of their problems from the attack on King's Row and be a bit more conventional on the first push on Escort.
Yeah, and I really like what Hureg was able to do with that Pharah for the first phase of that push as well. I mean, he has been outspoken saying that he likes hit scan, he likes to hop onto the Soldier, things like this, but the Pharah did look great. That first point-blank rocket barrage worked brilliantly to, like you say, get to that first point, get the push happening. Now, LW Red have looked so dominant when it comes to aggressively moving forward. I think a lot of it has to do with a certain new hero that Wicked has seemed to really find some kinship with.
So far, innovation has led to success in match scores. Kondu Panthera proved in our first series. Busan is going to open with the same defense they were running on King's Row. Going for the sightlines here and not going for any sort of shenanigans. They're looking for any Zarya and Reinhardt of their own. It was the Tracer work on the side of GC Busan that undid creative comp that Luxury Watch Red was running on attack on King's Row. See if you can get the same sort of value here on Dorado.
Yeah. Prophet has certainly been a good part of what GC Busan have been able to offer.
Expectation here is that they will run Doomfist. If you're GC Busan, you expect Doomfist and you expect him dashing straight onto the high ground defense that almost every team will adopt. And interestingly, Wicked's actually going to go underground here and take a different approach to get there.
Yeah, take the back road.
No one does this really in any form of Overwatch, so he's trying to be tricky and does end up backing away.
It was actually scouted out there as well, so Lucio is there, stop him from having any fun. Already the push has got us towards this bridge. So GC Busan wanting to make sure that they make their first hold here at this first cliff. High ground advantage certainly available, and an opportunity for Hureg to really get some free bullets in for the members of LW Red, especially when they're not running any Pharahs or anything like that that can test in the sky. Wicked going down very low, but still able to get a lot of work down. The seismic slam not going to be punished just yet as GC Busan losing their health bars, but they are getting healed back up. No one getting picked off, but they are going to lose a mech on the side of LW Red.
Solo finally falls down. So hard to contest the cart when Doomfist is alive.
Yeah, we do have a self-destruct available there as well. No, sorry, that's going to be another build-up. Pulse Bomb flies through, doesn't find any joy. GC Busan able to hold off the LW Red push for the moment.
They ended up having to take a more defensive line than they would have expected because they saw the Doomfist coming in from Wicked. They gave up the high ground freely. That's why they backed away so early, and they also wanted to get free sightlines for the Soldier. Want him to be taken down in one row from the Doomfist. I see the secondary attack from GC Busan, so from Luxury Watch Red though.
Yeah, Nene getting ran around there as well, unable to harass the targets that he wants, but Wicked, he's not going to be deterred. Takes down Gesture in the meantime.
No value from the attack visor at all. Now Wicked's in close quarters.
Yeah, not even worried about the fact that he's fighting a tank. He'll just take on the Winston if he wants to. Transcendent's going to be invested there from GC Busan, but it feels a little bit half-hearted. Now they throw in also, on top of everything, that sound barrier. And the Meteor Strike just wants to get the pick, but doesn't get anyone. Just buys the space that they need and punches Oriel in frustration to get themselves onto point A pretty quickly here as well.
And Wicked does eventually take down the Soldier as well. So even though with the fleet of foot not able to actually close down the Soldier, he's too fast at running away. He zones him out of the fight. He still picks him up on the backside. Able to take down point at a decent time for the side of GC, for the side of Luxury Watch Red, even though it wasn't on the first push.
Oh, nice snipe there. Tsure gonna follow up his Helix rocket with a quick burst. Nene falls. Some meterage on the cart here. Yeah, and I feel like GC Busan probably pretty happy to let LW Red push this one forward, understand that the defensible positions are closer to point B. Still feeling quite comfortable because their push was very strong on the side of GC Busan, and they have a lot of ultimates now to work with, building up towards those support ults that they invested into point A.
I think it's a little bit risky to take conventional logic when you have to plug in Doomfist as an extra variable, because it's very difficult for a team to get back to point B. It's why it's such a great defensible position, but Doomfist doesn't need to necessarily expose himself. He can contest the point with invulnerability and the threat of his ultimate in ways that other teams can't. Actually picks up 2 kills to open this up as well, and now GC Busan are going to have to pull back.
Yeah, it feels like his other option is just kill everyone, and they don't really need to worry about it. Couple of extra picks now coming in for LW Red as Wicked makes it 3 in a row in this particular fight, and the Doomfist is just made to look so good in his hands.
And has it to drop down into the power point here if he wants to take out some of the longer range members, like for example Hureg. No support ultimate either. You might even see a multi-kill with the Meteor Strike. That hasn't happened today. It's a nice dive.
Just stunning. Gets it with the uppercut as well. Zureg is going to fall. Transcendence is going to be invested as he throws in the ultimate. No one can actually stay still as he looks for the kill. The Seismic Slam's going to do it. And there's going to be no more Zenyatta to try and offer his defense. No more charge available. It's going to be the self-destruct coming in. Decent kills now for LW Red to follow up all that Wicked has offered to this fight so far.
Urek instantly shut down by Roar as well. There's going to be point B. And now 3 minutes 30 to get to that cart position and actually confirm Luxury Watch Red to once again be the team to take down GC Busan.
Yeah, and this is actually going to be the full victory as well. It wasn't a full push, even though that yellow marker is relatively close to the end. LW Red only need to make it that little bit further. And they will have taken down GC Busan in their first match of Apex Season 4 and their first match of Apex ever, which is an interesting thing to say about a team that has been established so long.
What ifs were always there for Luxury Watch Red, so it would be a big story for them, even with a different roster to claim a victory. Wicked's still brawling. You never stop brawling as Doomfist.
Nope, that's his default setting. And Sound Barrier wasn't able to net himself any kills, but it did at least keep him alive. Personal shields also helping out, but he's building towards yet another Meteor Strike. GC Busan, it's now their turn to invest in these ultimates and try and stave off LW Red's push and get themselves a foothold in this power plant, but it's not going to happen. Another charged up rocket punch is going to take down the Lucio, but finally some action for GC Busan. Tac Visor invested, but it is able to get some of these kills. Try and stop this one from working for LW Red. Good stagger onto Arc as well, coming out from Prophet, who's been relatively quiet so far on this attack.
Hureg has been very shut down as well on the streets phase. It is a really defensible position. That is usually the position where we see teams hold a cart for 3-4 minutes. It's where we see it on the power plant. That Doomfist ultimate might answer defensive positioning, Atlas. That's why Meteor Strike is so respected, even though his regular kit is so powerful. This is a scenario where he might get a lot of value out of the ult.
Well, Prophet's actually going to get taken down for free, gets a stray orb to the head, and that's not going to be great. An uppercut to death onto Ariel is so important as Meteor Strike. He's hunting down Hureg. You mentioned he's been shut down. He's now just getting obliterated, punched to death and shot, as Wicked is going to be able to do that. Some extra pickups here on the side of GC Busan, but there's the sound barrier finally coming in for LW Red as they really want to get this point moving forward. Prophet just cannot stay alive so far this round. The card is going to start to move very, very shortly, and it's only got so little space to go.
They're trying to repel them, but they fall one by one. Transcendence just to buy time. Hureg's actually on the defensive Doomfist, and he might actually win the battle.
Yeah, he's actually looking just to punch Wicked to death. He is going to be taken in trade, but Wicked was taken down. Nene gets rid of the front line, and now LW Red do have another Transcendence. It feels like this fight has gone on for the entire build-up of that ultimate from 1J Lee.
Prophet was able to delay the cart for a while, but I don't know if it's enough. We're on the last 2 meters.
Yeah, really nice pulse bomb to get rid of that mech as well. As LW Red not going to let the Diva stall at all. Wicked makes his way back in, and now he's zoning with the Meteor Strike. They want to get this set up. Booped off the point, as this cart will move soon. So little distance, it was 0.05, and LW Red, the 3-1 victory over GC Busan.
A year later than they wanted to make their debut at Apex, but it's still a successful one. They take down GC Busan 3-1, and we get an answer to one of our pre-tournament questions of what will Doomfist mean for the meta. Clearly, on evidence of today, he will be front and center, Atlas, as the team that rolled the dice, the team that played more Doomfist, found a lot of value. Wicked on your screen right now, playing almost exclusively Doomfist, and also Rascal. We knew how good Rascal was on switching heroes. He settled on Doomfist, and who's to argue with him?
Yeah, Rascal certainly looked fantastic. I was actually more impressed, honestly, by Wicked and some of his plays really mixing up the style with the Doomfist as well. It felt like as soon as it was in his hands, he could play defensive peel style. He could jump right into the fray and smack people around. But it seems like LW Red knew how to play around Doomfist so well, probably because Wicked decided that he wasn't playing anything else.
We've had a settled meta for so long, since about the semi-finals of Season 2, dive has been the way to go. But things are different now. We do see that Doomfist can actually be a very real counter to things like dive, can also function as part of dive. The fact that he's kind of good against and with it is perhaps the biggest quandary.
Yeah.
Kind of suggests that you have to be finding a way to fit Doomfist into your comps, even when he wasn't looking as practiced as on the first map of the night for Rascal. Eventually, he did the job. But Luxury Watch Red, it is the payoff. For so long, they've suffered 4 seasons in Challenger. Only with the format change could they avoid playing a final, playing an area where they might fall down. They avoided a Super Week as well. They get into Apex, they win their first match, and that's so important to their confidence.
Yeah, it feels like that situation when Sombra first started to make waves, when Twilight decided that Sombra was going to be his hero and he was going to define her in the meta. And since then, people have realized how she works, what you need in order to counter her. And yes, you mentioned it earlier on, it's another Sombra to try and hack each other to death. But here with the Doomfist, I feel like some of these corners, some of these situations where you can get that rocket punch right into the backline after everyone's filed in, like in Volskaya.
They've got a bit of a play of the game to cement just how strong you can be. Was actually on the point B defense here for the side of GC Busan. Actually for the side of Luxury Watch Red, that's weird to see, but regardless, Wicked running away with the play in that particular regard. And the thing that really strikes me is that, again, I was mentioning it right at the end there, is that those spots where you're like, this is the defensible spot, right around the bend of Kings Row, point B, right around the bend at point C of Dorado. You're like, this is great because you got all the coverage. How are they ever going to contest you? Meteor Strike can contest those areas. And when you're on the cart, diving to defend the cart, he also excels with the rest of his kit there. So a lot of value from Doomfist in many different areas. And 3-1 result for the Doomfist teams on both games.
Yeah, Condu Panthera looking great against Oncia in our first series of the night. Of course, our runners-up feeling like they should have been the favorites, but on control, Oncia looked good. And LW Red, despite what was a questionable attacking decision with the composition on Kings Road, did look like the better team on the night against GC Busan, which has been what history dictated to us, at least recently.
Yeah, it sounds, I get heaps criticism on GC Busan that they were so comfortably second place, but if Luxury Watch Red didn't go for such an off-the-ball comp on Kings Row attack, it really could have been a 3-0. Even though GC Busan shouldn't in any way be discouraged by their opening performance, and they were respectable, just second best on the day, and the team with the better read on the meta seemed to be the team that jumped ahead.
And it's always so difficult to be in the debuting day of a patch as well, because you're the team that is now getting scrutinized and also being judged at the same time. Every other team is now looking at this theoretical Doomfist meta saying, what can we do to stop this from happening to us? And they're just guinea pigs, you know? They're the ones that have been beaten to death by Wicked.
Well, those same people have beaten us to death about saying meta Athena. Well, guess what? We got a lot of meta coming out on our next match day. We'll be Monday, guys. Remember, we're Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the next couple of weeks. And on Monday, both meta teams will be in action.
Yeah, Meta Athena, I said it because you said it. Meta Athena going to be taking on Runaway for our first match, and then X6 Gaming going to make their way back in to take on Meta Bellum. See whether Meta Bellum can make a good debut. Didn't necessarily look fantastic in challenges, but there's an option here.
That first match is going to be sick. Meta Athena versus Runaway. Runaway looking a lot stronger. Kaiser's back in the lineup. Back from North America, our returning hero, and taking on Meta Athena, who now have Hoon on Zarya, and can feel great about it. We saw Hoon playing other heroes throughout Apex Season 3, and it wasn't the same as that overextending Zarya that looked so strong on. Now we can see some innovation. We saw Libero playing the Doomfist, I believe, today in a match against Africa Blue that was played in another Korean tournament. So, Meta Athena, they're going to be a lot more formidable this season.
Yeah, and with the Zarya meta coming back as well, it could mean a Reinhardt meta, and then Kaiser's on the other side, and you bring the Zarya master in. We could have Zarya Reinhardt just all day. That could be so, so good.
But Doomfist goes through the Reinhardt shield, so what will that mean?
Oh my goodness, Huxal. Is he going to be the one that switches over? Was the Genji player, and we have seen the Genjis be the ones to really make the Doomfist work.
I don't think he's going to be playing Winston. So that's at least a movement forward for Runaway fans. The optimism that you lost in Season 3 maybe can start coming back.
Yep, certainly will be exciting. I cannot wait to see what Runaway is going to do because it just felt a little bit different without Kaiser. It was a bit of a sad time. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to mean the end of the night. I hope you enjoyed day 1 of Apex Season 4. There is still a heck of a lot more to come. And we'll see you on Monday as it continues.
So much Overwatch, so much Doomfist, so much innovation. This is the place to be.
So little time. Excited, guys. Good night.
Not yet.
Not yet?
Nah.